GPS and all the rest of that stuff. But something that people should know is that is the current technology that is used today for finding fish and wildlife use for finding bears that are hibernating in caves under the snow and such.
You know, I agree with you, and Nick, I got to tell you, I like it, and we've had many discussions about it on the show, including the absurd notion from some people who will tell me that if they go hiking or climbing, that if they carry one of those in their pack, that somehow it takes away from the experience because I've literally had a guy call the show and say, it makes it feel as though because I have that linkage to the outside world, that somehow it takes away from the wilderness experience, which, you know, just makes me think you're on drugs or something, because, you know, all of those guys who tell me that, they use titanium carabiners, and they use, you know, Gore-Tex clothing, and they use, I mean, every other kind of technology is okay. You know, nobody's up there climbing in wool pants and, you know, and old-fashioned gear from 100 years ago, but they think somehow it ruins it. I'm also against the idea of the government mandating them, but I almost wish there was societal shaming that we could do of people who don't. And again, that's why I made the comments, if you heard them earlier, about how reporters tend to be very forgiving of people who've lived through something where their own stupidity either contributed to the problem or caused the entire problem. And, you know, because in some cases it's, you know, it's half 50 or 70-30, but in many cases when people, there are a few cases where people go out with the, you know, the best preparation and the best information and everything else, and they get in trouble, and those I'm completely sympathetic to. But in almost every case, you find something that says you really weren't ready for what was going on in the way that any prudent person would be. And it's sad that people climb that mountain and they have the cell phone and they have the, I mean, Tony's got a watch, it's a barometer, and they said the barometer might have, not a barometer, but an altimeter would have actually probably saved those kids, because you remember there were two people, a guide and a young lady, who hiked down to Timberline Lodge. If they
went out to Mount,
yeah, but if they had an altimeter, a simple altimeter at the time, and had been able to tell them we're at 7,950 feet, then what would happen, as I understand, is that the rescuers would climb up to 7,950 and put guys, you know, 10 feet or 10 yards out one way, 10 yards out the other way, and they would just walk around, you know, at that altitude, and they would be able to very quickly find somebody who was under the snow. But if you've ever been up there, when we were coming back down the last time I was up there, you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. So you can be hidden very quickly.
Well, I've been on that mountain since 50s and operated snow machines up there since 60s. And that storm was the worst that I've seen on the mountain. And we used to go up there to 10,000 feet every weekend, regardless of the weather, and ski down. And the weather conditions were so bad that we had people stepping off into crevasses because the air and the snow at the distance of your eyeball away from the snow is the same color. But interesting enough, the MLU is not something that's monitored, not even closely as monitored as what somebody's cell phone is with a GPS. I mean, nobody's listening. You got to be overdue, and then that system comes into use. But you're right on the technology. I mean, the only sure way to climb that mountain is naked. I mean, I'm serious, you know.
Don't say that there'll be some crazy person in Portland that'll do it.
Well, it's been done, so hell yeah.
No.
I can't believe in this discussion that it hasn't. In any event, you know, one of the things that the media did do is exactly as you said for a while, is pretty much shame people when we were having quite a few people lost at the same time, and they'd say, hey, why didn't you have the MLU? And so there was a certain amount of pressure where people would have that just so they could avoid that question. And, you know, whatever it takes is fine with me. And although I stopped very short of having that be required to take that.
No, let's not have government do that. But on the other hand, you know one thing those people will do that refuse to take the MLU? They sign out at the Climbers Register, and I told them, I said, this is a contradiction, because if you sign in at the Climbers Register and say we expect to be off by 2 p.m. on Sunday, you're effectively sending out a 911 call if you don't show up by 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, because people will, they'll look at the climber's register, say, we've got a group on the mountain that signed in but did not sign out. They've effectively, said we're lost or we're stuck, and they will go looking for you. If you don't want that, if you don't want the MLU, then don't sign out at the climber's register, because to me it's the same kind of thing, because all it is saying to the outside world, I'm lost, but the MLU is here's where I am. And this nitwit who climbed, who apparently I didn't hear the detail about whether he had the app on his phone or had installed the app or whatever it was that would have given him exact latitude and longitude, and he could have made one simple text message: I'm lost, I'm at exactly this latitude, this longitude, accurate to within 30 meters or whatever it is these days, and they would have walked right up to it. 13 before the hour. Back in a moment. You've got the Lars Larson Show.
That's what he did.
Portland's best traffic is right here on FM News 101.
Yeah, there's a rollover wreck right now, I-205 southbound near Stark. The wreck itself is on the off-ramp, doesn't seem to be blocking, but it would be wise to keep an eye out. Nevertheless, 217 at Hall coming up both directions, and we're seeing the usual slowing north into town on I-5 from Curds on up, as well as the interstate to downtown southbound. Also, the Sunset inbound starts backing up at the Jefferson off-ramp. Traffic brought to you by Portland Meadows. It's not too late to place your bet this Sunday at Portland Meadows. Post time is noon. Always free parking and free admission at Portland Meadows. It can be your lucky day. Now, Portland's most weather.
Got a few showers out there, even some sun breaks. I expect heavy rain tonight and tomorrow morning before tapering off, and then heavy rain Saturday night into early Sunday. I'm KGW News Channel 8 meteorologist Nick Allard. Your next news, traffic and weather update at the top of the hour on FM News 101.
Speaking of needing help, the Salvation Army does the most good for literally millions of people in the United States. And at this holiday season, if you've been thinking about giving some money to a charity, I can't recommend the Salvation Army highly enough. This is a fantastic organization, and here's the beauty of it. They maintain a very small front end. That is, an awful lot of charities, you give them $1.30 or 10 cents is going to make it to the actual cause. In the case of the Salvation Army, they run one of the smallest administrative overheads anywhere. If you talk to folks who are in the Army, and I've done this, they will tell you they work for, tiny wages. They'll tell you what they make. It's not much. And the point is, an awful lot of doing it, a lot of those folks are doing it out of love for their fellow man, out of a faith-based feeling that they want to go out and do something to help. You can help them out as well. And my friend Rebecca Marshall and I are having a friendly competition. Go to her kettle or go to my kettle. We'll compete in a friendly way because it's all for the cause. OnlineRedKettle.org/Lars. That's Online Red Kettle. Go to the site, type in Lars or Rebecca, and you'll get our sites. Give some money to the Salvation Army. They will do the most good for it. And by the way, all the listeners who make a donation to my kettle will be entered to win a $500 Restaurant.com gift card. No donation or purchase is necessary to enter. See RedKettleSweeps.com for rules. And thank you from the Salvation Army and from me. And Merry Christmas.
Buying a car at McCord's is definitely one of the most pleasant experiences we've had.
At McCord's Vancouver Toyota, we take good care of our customers.
I went to the website for Vancouver Toyota and found it very helpful for researching cars, the features, the prices. I did a lot of it over the phone because I was pressed for time. I had school and my 2 kids to take care of, and they made it very easy.
Come see for yourself or visit VancouverToyota.com.
They lived up to their slogan, "We make it easy," very well. It was wonderful.
Sold to the highest bidder. Not just another public auction. Mark this date on your calendar, December 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific Restaurant Equipment is auctioning off 10,000 square feet of reconditioned restaurant equipment. Come save 50, 60, and 70% on grills, broilers, fryers, ranges, refrigeration, and almost anything it takes to run a restaurant. Check our website for list and pictures, PacificRestaurantEquipment.com, or call 503-620-7090, 5555 Southwest 107th Avenue, Beaverton, Oregon. December 8th at 10 a.m. Be there.
Determine whether your loan is owned by either Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae by checking the following websites: FreddieMac.com/MyMortgage or FannieMae.com/Loan Lookup. Loans made pursuant to State of Oregon Department of Consumer Business Services License Number ML3547, NMLS 6606, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm a responsible homeowner. I love my home and I pay my mortgage on time. Just because I'm upside down on my home, why can't I refinance and take advantage of today's low rates?
Now you can. I'm Rick Arbiello, president of New American Funding. If your mortgage is owned or guaranteed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, which we can tell you, you may be eligible to refinance your mortgage under the expanded provisions of HARP. We're doing tons of these and saving homeowners thousands. No matter how upside down you are, no equity and no appraisal required. This is a true refinance into today's historic low rates designed to help responsible homeowners.
Call New American Funding at 800-319-6182. That's 800-319-6182. 800-319-6182.
If you're stuck for gift ideas again this holiday, then we have great news. You don't need to wander aimlessly around the mall because you're actually just a click away from the perfect gift at redenvelope.com. Red Envelope has always been the place online to find extraordinary one-of-a-kind gifts, but now it's even better with hundreds of new gifts, so you know you'll find something just right for all the important people in your life. Whether it's cool gadgets or awesome sports stuff for him, or a customized piece of jewelry for her, you'll find it all at redenvelope.com. Fast, easy, and perfect. What more could you ask for? How about 25% off almost everything? Okay, done. Just go to redenvelope.com and enter promotion code GET at checkout. No one needs to know how easy it was for you to find their perfect gift, but time is running out. So go to redenvelope.com right now and enter promo code GET at checkout to get 25% off almost everything. Go to redenvelope.com. Code GET. That's redenvelope.com. Promo code GET.
Most fast food places serve you biscuits from a freezer, reheated to make them magically fresh. But Carl's Jr. makes biscuits by hand every single morning. Come try one of the new made-from-scratch buttermilk sausage biscuits for free on Wednesday, December 5th from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. The best way to work and back home is Portland's Morning News, 5 to 9 a.m.
And Portland's afternoon news, 4 to 7 p.m.
The most news and traffic.
With over 525 reports each week.
Stay connected with FM News 101. Back to First Amendment Friday with Lars on FM News 101.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to get your phone calls and emails. Brandon writes in, Lars, my family already has a Christmas tree. I heard the story about the young lady who was shut down by the long arm of county code enforcement. I fully support her efforts to raise money for school. I chose to go to school later, and I fully valued the experience, an experience I probably wouldn't have valued as much back when I was her age. I commend her for her initiative and drive. I'd like to buy a few trees that could go to families in need, but I'm not aware of any local organizations that accept such donations. I called the local Salvation Army and was told they'd look into it and get back to me Monday. Any suggestions? Folks, if somebody wanted to buy a Christmas tree and make sure it went to a worthy family, if you've got some suggestions, certainly give them to me, and I'll bet the Army will end up helping out Brandon. Let's go to Nick in Hillsborough. Nick, thanks for listening on the First Amendment Friday edition of the show. What's on your mind today?